Somebody is trapped inside the evil house! Help! Help!
Every morning, the dog barked at the abandoned house. Everyone ignored it. Until one woman realized the bark wasn't anger. It was a cry for help. The sound cut through the morning like something alive. Sharp, angry, desperate. Not the kind of barking dogs made at strangers or passing cars. This one had weight to it, urgency, like a warning that had grown teeth. Hannah Cole stopped walking. Her canvas work bag slid down her shoulder, and she barely noticed until it bumped against her elbow. Her fingers felt weak, like the strength had drained out of them without asking permission. The morning air in Willow Creek was cool, early autumn cool, but Hannah's skin felt hot, tight, uncomfortable. The sun was just lifting itself over the trees, painting the road in pale gold. The town was waking slowly, lazily. A woman jogging with earbuds in. A man unlocking the doors of the hardware store. A kid on a bike zigzagging across the road. Normal. Everything normal. Except the dog. It stood in front of the abandoned farmhouse at the edge of town, the one no one went near anymore, the one parents warned their kids about in half-joking voices, the one people avoided without ever really admitting why. The dog barked again. It wasn't chained, it wasn't guarding anything. It just stood there, feet planted, ears sharp and upright, body stiff like an arrow aimed straight at the house. The bark echoed off the empty fields. Hannah swallowed. She had heard the dog for 3 mornings now. Same time, same place, same direction. At first, people joked about it. Probably saw a raccoon, someone said yesterday outside the diner. Dogs bark, another shrugged. That's what they do. An older man at the gas station leaned in and said, half smiling, "That place is bad news, always has been." Hannah laughed it off with everyone else. Until today. Today, the bark sounded different. It wasn't just loud. It sounded like begging. Hannah glanced left, right. No one was stopping. People heard it, she could tell by the way a few heads turned, but they kept moving. Some even picked up their pace, like the sound made them uncomfortable. The dog barked again, jumping slightly, like it was trying to pull someone's attention out of the air. Hannah's heart thudded. She should keep walking. She worked at a small print shop downtown, and her boss hated lateness. He had a passive-aggressive way of checking his watch that made her feel like a misbehaving child. But her feet didn't move forward. They moved toward the house. The farmhouse sat a few yards off the road, slumped like it had grown tired of standing. The white paint had long ago peeled away, exposing grey wood beneath. One side sagged noticeably, as if the ground itself had started to swallow it. Weeds grew wild around it, reaching up like hands. Hannah remembered the stories. A family once lived there. A fire. Someone disappeared. Someone else died. No one ever agreed on the details, which somehow made it worse. She told herself what she always did, that small towns loved stories, that mystery filled the gaps where facts were missing. Still, her chest felt tight. The dog barked again. Then suddenly, it stopped. The silence was sharp enough to make Hannah's heart jump. The dog turned its head and looked directly at her. For one long second, neither of them moved. "Hey," Hannah said softly, unsure if she was talking to the dog or to herself. The dog's eyes were dark and alert, not playful, not distracted. Then it barked once. Hard. Commanding. Like it was saying, "Come." Hannah's mouth went dry. She hesitated, glancing back at the road, at the town continuing on like nothing unusual was happening. No one else had stopped. No one else seemed to feel this pull. She took one step forward. Then another. The gravel crunched softly under her shoes. The smell of damp earth and old leaves filled her nose. The dog resumed barking, turning its focus back to the house, body angled, tail low. "Why are you doing this?" Hannah whispered. The front door of the farmhouse was closed, warped with age, the wood swollen and cracked. A window beside it was broken, jagged glass clinging to the frame like teeth. Hannah felt a bead of sweat slide down her spine. She was about to turn away, about to tell herself this was ridiculous, when she heard it. A sound beneath the barking. So faint she almost missed it. She froze. The dog barked again, loud enough to drown it out. Then silence. And there it was again. A sound that didn't belong to wind or animals. A breath. Shaky, broken. Hannah's heart slammed against her ribs. She stepped closer to the window, slow and careful, like the sound might vanish if she moved too fast. She leaned in, resting her hand against the wall. The wood felt cold, rough. She held her breath. "Help!" The word was barely there, thin, frayed. Hannah's eyes widened. Her hand flew to her mouth as a scream tried to escape. She swallowed it down, chest burning. She listened again. "Please." There was no mistaking it now. A human voice. A woman's voice. Hannah stumbled back, breathing hard. Her mind raced. This can't be real. This is a trick. This is how people get hurt. But the voice sounded exhausted, raw, like someone who had been crying for too long. And the dog, this dog had been here for 3 days. Waiting. Hannah's legs trembled as she turned toward the road. "There's someone inside," she shouted, her voice cracking. "Someone is inside the house." The sound echoed down the street. A jogger stopped, pulling out one earbud. The hardware store owner looked up sharply. A woman with a stroller slowed, eyes wide. Hannah shouted again, louder, "Help, please, someone is trapped in there." People began to gather, confusion rippling through them. The dog barked wildly now, tail wagging stiffly, like it finally had backup. A tall man pushed through the growing crowd, broad shoulders, military posture, calm eyes. "That's Mark," someone whispered, "former firefighter." Mark didn't waste time. He walked straight to the door and tried the handle. Locked. He pulled harder. "Nothing. Door's stuck," he said. A nervous laugh came from somewhere in the crowd. Mark stepped back, clear space. Hannah's pulse roared in her ears as he lifted his leg and kicked. The sound was deep, solid. The door shuddered but held. Mark kicked again, harder. Wood groaned. On the third kick, the door burst inward with a sharp crack. Dust billowed out. A smell followed, stale, sour, wrong. Hannah stepped forward without realizing it. Inside, light filtered weakly through a hole in the roof. And on the floor, a body. A woman. Thin, filthy, bound at the wrists and ankles with thick rope. For a moment, no one spoke. Even the dog went silent. Then the woman's lips moved. "Please." The sound broke something open in Hannah's chest. Mark rushed in first, dropping to his knees. "Get something sharp," he shouted. "Now." Someone ran. Hannah followed inside, legs stiff, heart hammering. The woman's eyes fluttered open, unfocused but alive. Her gaze landed on Hannah. "Fear. Hope. Pain." "She's alive," Mark said urgently, fingers pressed to the woman's neck, but barely. The ropes were cut carefully, slowly. As they loosened, the woman flinched like her body didn't trust relief. Hannah's throat burned. "Call 911, she shouted. "Call an ambulance." People scrambled. Water appeared, jackets, someone covered the woman's legs. The dog stood at the doorway, watching, unmoving like a sentry. Hannah noticed foam around its mouth, not sickness, but exhaustion. 3 days. 3 days of barking. I heard you, Hannah whispered to the dog. I heard you today. The dog let out a low sound, almost a sigh. As they lifted the woman gently, she whispered something barely audible. Hannah leaned close. My name is Emily. Her eyes closed. Sirens wailed in the distance. Hannah didn't notice when her bag slipped from her shoulder and fell to the ground. She didn't notice the crowd staring at her like she'd crossed some invisible line. What she noticed, what she couldn't stop seeing, was the fresh footprint in the dirt behind the house. Not old, not faded, fresh, like someone had been there that morning, watching. And somewhere in the tall grass, something shifted. Hannah's blood ran cold, because whoever did this hadn't gone far. And the dog was still watching the house, like it knew this wasn't over. The ambulance lights washed Willow Creek in red and white, over and over, like the town itself was breathing too fast. Hannah stood on the edge of the road, arms wrapped around herself, watching as paramedics lifted Emily into the back of the vehicle. The woman's face was pale, almost translucent, her dark hair tangled and matted against her cheeks. Oxygen hissed softly as a mask was secured over her mouth. Alive. Barely, but alive. A ripple of relief moved through the crowd. People murmured prayers, shook their heads, covered their mouths in shock. No one goes in that house, someone whispered. How long was she there? Another asked. How did nobody notice? Hannah didn't answer anyone. Her eyes were fixed on the dog. It sat a few feet from the farmhouse door, finally quiet. Its body sagged now, tension draining out of it like air from a tire. Its ears were still alert, but its eyes looked dull, exhausted. Like a guard who had finished a shift that nearly killed him. Mark walked over and crouched beside it. Good boy, he said gently, holding out his hand. The dog sniffed his fingers, but didn't move closer. Mark glanced at Hannah. You okay? She nodded automatically, though her knees felt weak. Is she going to make it? She's breathing on her own, that's something, he said. Hospital, about 20 minutes out, if she holds on until then. He didn't finish the sentence. The ambulance doors slammed shut. Sirens flared again, then faded as the vehicle sped away. And just like that, the crowd began to thin. People drifted back toward their routines, shaking their heads, telling the story out loud already, polishing it, reshaping it, turning terror into something they could manage. But Hannah couldn't leave. Something about the house felt unfinished, unsettled. She turned slowly, scanning the weeds, the trees, the broken fence line. That was when she saw it again. The footprint. She stepped closer, heart pounding. It was clear now in the morning light, a deep imprint in the soft dirt behind the house. The tread pattern was sharp, modern, not old, not weathered. Someone had stood there recently, watching the road, watching the house, watching the dog bark for 3 days straight. Hannah straightened quickly. Mark, she said. He followed her gaze, his jaw tightened. That's fresh, he said quietly. Could be a neighbor, someone offered from behind them. Mark shook his head. Nobody walks back here, especially not in those boots. A chill crawled up Hannah's spine. The dog let out a low growl. Everyone froze. The sound wasn't loud, but it was deep, controlled, a warning. The dog stood, muscles tensing, eyes locked on the tree line. Mark rose slowly. All right, he said. That's enough for today, everyone go home. Some people protested weakly, but most obeyed. Fear has a way of draining curiosity. Within minutes, only Hannah, Mark, and the dog remained near the house. Police cruisers arrived soon after, lights flashing silently. Officers taped off the property, took statements, snapped photos. Questions blurred together. How did you find her? Why did you come closer? Did you see anyone else? Hannah answered as best she could, but her mind kept drifting back to the bark, the way it had sounded like it knew. Eventually, an officer nodded and said, "We'll be in touch." And then Hannah was alone. She walked home on autopilot, the town suddenly feeling unfamiliar. Every creak, every shadow felt louder. The dog followed her. She noticed it halfway down the road. Its paws padded softly behind her, keeping a careful distance. "You don't belong to anyone, do you?" she murmured. The dog didn't respond, just kept walking. At a small blue house, Hannah turned and crouched. The dog stopped. "Are you coming with me?" The dog tilted its head. She opened the gate. After a moment's hesitation, it stepped inside. That night, Hannah didn't sleep. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Emily's face, the ropes cutting into her wrists, the way her voice had sounded like it was almost gone. At 2:13 a.m., her phone buzzed. Unknown number. Her stomach dropped. She stared at the screen, then answered. "Hello." There was breathing on the other end. Slow, controlled. "Hello," Hannah said again, pulse racing. A click. The call ended. She sat frozen, phone pressed to her ear, listening to the silence. The dog curled on a blanket by the door, lifted its head, and growled softly. "Did you hear that too?" Hannah whispered. Her phone buzzed again. A text. "You shouldn't have gone near that house." Her hands shook so badly, she almost dropped the phone. She typed back before she could stop herself. "Who is this?" 3 dots appeared, then vanished. No reply. Hannah locked every door and window. The next morning, the town buzzed like a disturbed hive. News vans parked near the police station. Social media exploded with speculation. Some called Emily a drifter. Others claimed she was kidnapped from another town. A few insisted it was something darker. Hannah went to work, but she couldn't focus. The hum of the printers grated on her nerves. Every time the door opened, her heart jumped. At noon, Mark came in. "Thought I'd find you here," he said. She looked up sharply. Did they find who did it? He shook his head. No signs of forced entry besides the door we broke. No fingerprints worth much. Whoever it was knew what they were doing. "And the phone call?" Hannah asked. His eyes narrowed. "You got a call." She told him everything. Mark leaned back, jaw tight. "You need to report that." "I know," she said, "but what if? What if they wanted to scare you?" he finished. "Then it worked." He paused. "The dog, where is it?" "With me," Hannah said. "I couldn't just leave it." Mark nodded slowly. "Good." That surprised her. "Good." "That dog noticed something everyone else missed," he said. "Animals don't ignore patterns the way people do." That afternoon, Hannah visited the hospital. Emily lay in a private room, pale but breathing steadily. Bandages wrapped her wrists and ankles. A police officer stood guard near the door. "She's awake," the nurse whispered, "but she's not talking much." Hannah stepped closer. Emily's eyes opened and locked onto hers immediately. Fear flashed across her face. "No," Emily whispered hoarsely, You shouldn't be here." Hannah's heart sank. "I just wanted to see if you were okay." "They'll come," Emily said, panic rising. "They always come back." "Who?" Hannah asked gently. Emily's gaze darted to the door, then back. "The ones who smile," she whispered, "the ones who act kind." A shiver ran through Hannah. "What do you mean?" Emily's fingers tightened around the blanket. "They live here, in the town." The officer shifted uncomfortably. Emily shook her head, tears slipping down her temples. "They don't like witnesses." Hannah's phone buzzed in her pocket. She didn't need to look. She already knew. That night, Hannah found muddy footprints outside her back door. Vrashy. The dog barked, sharp, angry, desperate. And somewhere in the dark, someone was listening. The knock came at 3:07 a.m. Not loud. Not urgent. 3 soft taps. Like whoever stood outside already knew Hannah was awake. The dog was on its feet instantly. Its growl filled the room, low, steady, dangerous. Hannah sat up in bed, heart pounding so hard she thought it might give her away. Her phone lay in her hand, screen glowing from the unread message she'd been too afraid to open. Another knock. Tap, tap, tap. Hannah, a man's voice called softly through the door. Calm, familiar, it's me. Her stomach twisted. It was Deputy Lewis. She knew that voice, everyone did. He'd lived in Willow Creek his whole life, helped kids cross the street, bought coffee for old ladies, smiled like nothing ever touched him. The dog snarled, baring its teeth. Hannah, Lewis said again, gentle, I just want to talk. She didn't move. Her phone buzzed. A new text. Open the door, this doesn't have to be hard. Her blood ran cold. She crept toward the window and peeked through the curtain. Deputy Lewis stood on her porch, hands relaxed at his sides. No flashlight, no radio. Behind him, near the edge of the yard, someone else shifted in the dark. Then another shape. And another. The dog barked, wild, furious. Lewis's smile faded. Hannah, he said, voice firm now, you're making a mistake. She backed away and grabbed her phone, dialing Mark with shaking fingers. Come now, Lewis said sharply, hearing the tone. You don't want to force us. Us. Mark answered on the second ring. They're here, Hannah whispered, at my house. Lock yourself in, Mark said. I'm on my way. A loud bang shook the door. Wood cracked. The dog launched itself forward, barking like thunder. Lewis cursed under his breath. Fine, he snapped, do it. The back door exploded inward. Hannah screamed. She ran. Out the side window, glass shattered around her arms as she tumbled into the yard, pain screaming through her skin. She didn't stop. She ran toward the trees, branches whipping her face. The dog burst out behind her. Shouts erupted. After her. Don't let the dog get loose. Flashlights cut through the dark. Hannah tripped, slammed into the dirt, breath knocked out of her. Strong hands grabbed her ankle. She kicked, screamed. The dog hit the man like a missile. Teeth sank in. A howl of pain echoed as the grip loosened. Hannah scrambled up and ran again, deeper into the woods, toward the abandoned farmhouse. Toward the place that started everything. The house loomed ahead, moonlight casting it in silver and shadow. The front door still hung broken from days before. Hannah stumbled inside and collapsed against the wall, gasping. The dog stood at the entrance, chest heaving, eyes blazing. Footsteps crunched outside. Deputy Lewis appeared in the doorway, flanked by 2 others, faces Hannah recognized. People she waved to. People she trusted. You don't understand, Lewis said, breathing hard. This town survives because of that house. Hannah laughed, hysterical. You kidnap people, torture them. Lewis shook his head. We feed it. Her stomach dropped. What? The house, he said quietly. It needs suffering, silence, forgotten people. The air inside the farmhouse felt heavy suddenly, thick, like it was listening. Emily's words echoed in Hannah's mind. The ones who smile. Lewis continued, voice almost reverent. It keeps the town safe, prosperous, no floods, no fires, no disappearances, except the ones it takes. You're insane, Hannah whispered. Emily wasn't meant to be found, Lewis said. She screamed too long. The dog heard her. At the mention of the dog, Lewis's face twisted with hatred. That thing has ruined everything. The floor creaked. A sound rose from the walls, a low hum like breathing. Hannah felt it then. The house was alive. The shadows shifted, stretching unnaturally. The smell of rot thickened. The dog barked louder than ever. The house answered. A crack split the floorboards. One of the men screamed as the ground gave way beneath him, darkness swallowing him whole. Lewis staggered back. No, stop. The walls groaned, the ceiling shuddered. It's hungry, Hannah realized, and you brought it more. The dog lunged at Lewis, forcing him back. Mark's voice shouted from outside, Hannah. Sirens wailed closer. The house roared. The remaining man fled, screaming. Lewis fell to his knees. Please, he begged the walls, I've given you everything. The floor opened beneath him. He vanished. The house fell silent. The dog stopped barking. By morning, the farmhouse was gone. Collapsed in on itself like it had finally finished eating. The truth came out fast after that. Bones beneath the foundation. Records erased. People missing for decades. Emily testified. Others came forward. Willow Creek changed. Hannah moved away months later. The dog went with her. Sometimes at night, it barked at nothing. But Hannah listened now. Always. Because some warnings grow teeth for a reason.